Welcome back. So in this second section of the tutorial, we're continuing with this example of the Athens restaurant search engine, basically a Java program that reads information about restaurants from a CSV file and then provides some processing capabilities to the end user, such as being able to search for a restaurant by name or by rating. So in section 1, we looked at how the code in Zybook reads data and print the content of this file line by line. And now I'm going to switch to Eclipse and take out this program into Eclipse. So first, I'm going to go into Eclipse and I'm going to create a project that corresponds to this example. So I'm going to call my project Athens Restaurant Search Engine. Go to the defaults, okay? And then of course what I need to do, I need to create two classes corresponding to the two classes here, main.java and restaurant.java. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class called main. Of course I can check public static void main, but it's not necessary because I'm going to paste the code from Zybooks into Eclipse. So that's main. And then next I'm going to create another class corresponding to restaurant.java. So I'm going to call it restaurant here and click finish. Okay, so I got my two classes here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy everything and paste it into Eclipse. Do the same for the second file, copy everything from Zybooks and paste it into Eclipse. Once I'm done, I need to save all. So basically that's the project kind of ported to Eclipse. Okay. So let's see what happens if we try to run this code. So the code actually compiles, but it's giving us a runtime exception, and the runtime exception is file not found. It's basically not finding the file athensdiner.csv. So this is not surprising because this project doesn't know where to locate this file. So what we need to do, we need to download this file, athensdiner.csv, and put it in the project folder in Eclipse so that it can find it when it's looking for it. So I have already downloaded this file in part 1, so it's sitting in my downloads folder. There are a couple of ways you can import these into Eclipse. The easy one is basically to grab this file, athensdiner, and drag it to the project. Okay. Now it's important to drag it to the project, not to the source. So drag it to the project folder here, and then select copy files, which is selected by default. Don't click link. It has to be a copy of the file. And then you can see that this file has been copied here. And if you run this code, you're basically going to get the same output that we got in Zybooks. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to basically copy and paste this file using Finder or File Explorer on Windows. Basically, you need to know where your project is located, and it will be located into your workspace. If you don't know where your workspace is, you can right-click and go to Properties, and this is the location of the project. If you click on this little icon, it's going actually to open Finder or Explorer, and this is your project folder in the workspace, and you can actually see that the file has already been copied. If not, you can manually copy and paste it here. So it has to sit in the same folder where bin and source are. Source contains the source code files, main.java and restaurant.java, and those are the files we are editing on Eclipse. And bin contains the binary, the compilation of these two files, the .class files. Okay? So this file has to be beside bin and source. Okay, so now that's been done, we can now continue working on this project on Eclipse. I'm just going to increase the font size. So it can be more readable on your end. I'm going to select the text font and I'm going to pick 18, apply and close. All right, and just make this window bigger. All right. So the first part of this homework is basically to be able to read the content of the file and then put this content into a usable data structure, such as an array of restaurant. Okay. If you take a look at the content of the file, you notice that each restaurant has a name, a phone number, and rating. If you look at the class restaurant, basically it provides 3 attributes: name, rating, and number, plus a couple of getter and setter method to get and set these attributes, and a print method to print the restaurant. So what we want to do, we want to create a restaurant object for each one of the restaurants in the file and store this object in the array, so that after this loop is done, the content of the file is parsed into the array. Right now the loop is printing the line, and what we want to do, we want to process the line, to parse it and store it into the array. Okay, so let's take a look into this task. The line is composed of 3 different things: name, comma, phone number, comma, rating. So what we want basically to do, we want to create a restaurant object and we want to store the name, the phone number, and the rating of the restaurant in this object. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create variables with default values here. It's just a code stub to illustrate the idea and then think about completing it later on. So I'm going to create phone, and rating will be double, right? So double rating. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to call on the set method name, the set name method, set phone, set number method, and set rating method here. So that's the first step. Now the second step is to put this object into the array. So in order to work with an array, we need an index. We need to know where this object is to be located in the array. Now, since we know we are reading restaurants one by one sequentially, we can basically put those restaurant objects in the array starting from 0 to length -1, one by one. So assuming we start at location 0, we can increase this location one by one each time we read a new line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an integer variable called index, which is the current index in the array. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that restaurant object and put it in index, in the array at this index. So restaurant index will be assigned to that restaurant object. Now, of course, don't forget to increase index. Otherwise, you'll keep writing on that same first place in the array. So of course, I haven't taken data from the file yet. This is just a partial implementation to store things into the array. So conceptually, there are two subproblems here. The first subproblem is to take the data from the file, and the second subproblem is to create an object and store it in the array. I don't want to address both of them at the same time, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to address the second one and then see if we can work on the first one and then combine the two sub-solutions for one solution. So once this loop is done, you actually have an array of 50 restaurants. All of them are NA and minus 1.0. Okay, so what we can do here basically to test our code, we can go for each restaurant in this array, and then we call the method rest_r.print. Okay, I'm going to take out this print line so we just see the output, the content of the array, and what we should expect down below is na dash dash na dash dash minus 1.0. Okay, we should save the file before running it. So that's what we get. It's actually name, rating, and then phone number. So na dash dash minus 1.0 dash dash na. So now then, the second subproblem is basically to take out these piece of information from a file, right? Now what do we know? We know that the file, the line, string line is organized to be name, comma, name, comma, phone number, comma, rating. So what we can do then, we can process line using the string methods that we learned about. So parse name, phone, and rating from line. And there are a couple of ways to do it. For instance, we learned about the method index of, which basically give us the index of a certain character in a string. We also know about the method substring, which give us a substring from a larger string. So knowing that these three pieces of information are separated by comma, we can actually use index of and substring to pull this information from the bigger string. So let's take a look at name. Name always starts with the first character in the string and ends at the first comma, right? So instead of name being NA, what we can do line.substring, and we start from 0. And for the sake of this example, I'm going to pull 6. So 5 characters basically from that string. Okay. So what this will do, basically, name, instead of being NA, it will be the first 5 characters from line, which is, for most of these restaurants, a part of the name. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run to see what I get. Of course, it's not a complete solution, but you see the idea. We are approaching the right solution. We are trying to get that part from the string. And substring will give us the first, a couple of the first 5 characters, starting at location 0, ending at location 6. Okay, so actually it's the first 6 characters. And what we want to do, we want to make the substring ends where the comma is located. So instead of this being 6, this has to be the location of the comma in the string. Okay. So if you take a look at the documentation of the substring, and it says that it's going to start at begin index and extend to the character at index end index -1. So basically this is characters 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 6 characters from the string. Now instead of this being 6, this has to be where the name ends, and the name ends where there is a comma. Okay? So what we can do here, instead of providing 6 as a value, we can say, all right, where is the index of the first comma? Well, the index of the first comma can be given back with the method index of. Okay, so that first comma index is index of comma, and instead of this being 6, we can make this the first comma index. So if we run, you can see that we're getting the name from line, and by combining index of and substring. Well, let me work through this line by line, step by step, to see what's going under the hood. So I'm going to place a breakpoint at line 16, and let's debug here. So we're going into the loop, and first we pulled the first line. And the first line, of course, contains the table bistro, phone number, and rating. Now let's take a look at the second line here. First comma index should give us the index of that comma in this line. Okay. And it happens to be 16. So then name would be substring from 0 to 16 exclusive, which is basically the name of the restaurant. Okay. So again, line is the full line. Okay. And comma, first comma index is the location of this comma, which is 16. And then name is the substring from 0 to that index, which will give us the name of the restaurant. And of course, I haven't looked at phone and rating so far. Next, what we're doing, we're creating a new restaurant object. This object initially has null, null, 0, right? And what we want to do, we want to put the data that we parsed from the line here. And of course, name is now parsed correctly, so we call set name. Well, set phone and set rating are just kind of dummy values for now. If you take a look at this object, you can see that the name is the table bistro, number and rating still NA and -1. And then we're putting it into the array. So you can see that the array has 50 objects, all of them are null. Index is 0, so we put this in the array. Take a look. The first one is a restaurant, and inside it is table bistro NA -1. Okay. Now we increase index, so next time we put an object in the second location in the array. We go again. We read one line, and the second line is home.made. We take a look at the index of the comma, and this one is 9, so then name is from 0 to 9, home.made. Same story, we create that restaurant object, and we store it at index 1 this time, right? So if you take a look at the array, you can see that the first restaurant is already read, it's the table bistro, and now we stored homemade, and this proceeds. Okay, so each iteration inside the loop, we read one line, we process it, we store it as a restaurant object in the array. All right. So we need to continue work on the solution for phone and rating. So I'm going to stop at this point and continue in the third part of this tutorial.